Accountability is such an amazing tool. It's amazing. It's an amazing tool. It's a necessary tool. And the more I think about it, the more I realize how essential accountability is for everything concerning growth, everything concerning success, everything concerning greatness. Accountability is essential. It is like the MVP of any team of success. It's accountability. And so I really want to continue on this path. Yesterday was a pretty kind of tough because, I think we all could sort of see some of our negative traits. All of our negative traits can have a little hint, which I didn't even know. It can have a little hint of narcissism to it. And that was kind of eye-opening yesterday. And so, but I want to really piggyback on the 5 steps I ended with yesterday. And if you didn't catch us yesterday, I ended it with 5 steps of accountability and the keys to growth that come through accountability, right? And I talked about how accountability solidifies strong roots. Accountability solidifies strong roots. Good morning, Shar. Good morning, Angie. So one thing about accountability, I had this big oak tree. I brought up this oak tree I have on the side of my house. It's a huge old oak tree, probably 100 years old. And one thing about the oak tree is accountable, right? It's accountable. Why? It's stable. It has stability because it has not ran. It has stayed in one place. And then the water, the wind, the sun, it is accountable. The water, the elements make itself accountable to this oak tree. And the oak tree says, okay, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going to move. I'm not going to run. I'm going to stay here and maximize my potential, right? I'm going to stay here and maximize my potential. How tall can I get? How big can I get? And guess what? How great can you get? There's no limit to your greatness. There's no limit to your success. There's no limit to how tall you can get as far as greatness is concerned. There's no limit on how good you can be in whatever field you are after. There's no limit, but one thing that must be done, we must be like the oak tree. We must be accountable. We must not run. You'll never know how good you can be. You'll never know how good you can be. You'll never know how great you can be. You never know how smart you can be until you sit in one place and allow yourself to be accountable and not run from place to place, not run from job to job, not run from relationship to relationship. Stay in there and let your potential grow into itself. Let your potential be realized and maximized. And it's not easy, right? It's not easy because the best thing to do is to go to something new, right? That's the best feeling. The best feeling is newness. The best feeling is newness. But one thing that newness doesn't have the proof of longevity. Newness doesn't have the proof of trust, right? Because trust is built. Trust takes time. Trust needs the currency of time. You can't buy trust without the currency of time, and you can't buy trust without accountability, right? Accountability is the currency that purchases trust. Like I said, I can make my mouth say anything. My father used to say, boy, you can make your mouth say anything. You can make your mouth say anything, but unless I'm accountable to my wife or to any relationship, unless I hold myself accountable to them, unless I let my wife know what I'm doing, where I'm going, trust can't eat anything else. You can feed it something, but it doesn't mean it's going to eat. It's just like you can take your time and make a beautiful steak. Take your time and make a filet mignon, but you can't feed it to a baby. A baby won't be able to eat it because the baby doesn't have teeth. And guess what? Trust. You can make this beautiful monologue, but unless you are accountable, trust just can't eat it. It will not eat it. Unless you're accountable. I can tell my wife, I can write her buy her card, buy a big, huge card and write a huge story about how much I love her. But unless I answer when she calls, unless when I leave, I'm telling her, baby, hey, I'm going here, I'm going there, or I'm doing this and I'm doing. Unless I'm accountable, trust cannot eat anything else. And so we can't run. We cannot run. We can't run. Let's be accountable, because that's what will lock down and solidify our potential. The potential needs to be placed with parameters. It needs to be placed in parameters. That way it can stay just like that oak tree. It can stay in one place and it can just build. Yes, if the oak tree, it could have gotten tall and like, oh man, that oak tree is 10 feet tall. Wow, that's it's getting good. Let's replant it. Let's take it somewhere else. No, it's going to stay in one place, and it's going to allow the sun. It's going to allow the rain. It's going to allow, and see, even times in our life, like the oak tree, we got to be like the oak tree, right? It's going to rain in our lives. It's going to be a storm. It was a storm 2 nights ago. It was a storm. It was a great storm. But you know what that storm, I was waiting on that storm. I don't know about you, but in St. Louis, you had that pollen and those dust things that come from the oak trees. It's like fur. They've been falling on everything, just clogging up gutters. They've been making the cars dirty. Your driveway, your grass is getting all bad. And I said, man, all we need is a good storm. A good storm will wash all that out. A good storm will wash that away. And it's a lot of times when we go through storms, oh, it's the best thing that could happen, because it cleans us up. It shows us a good storm. When you go through some adversity, a good storm, it'll show you, it'll clean that dirt off of you. It'll get the dirt off of you. It'll show you, oh man, it shows you what you're made of, doesn't it? It shows you what you're made of. A storm will show you what you're made of, and it'll show what corrections and what adjustments you need to make. It'll show you a good storm. A good storm will expose those things. And guess what? You know what? Yesterday, I didn't see any of those fur balls flying around, or those little fur strands. I didn't see them flying around. Why? Because the storm came, and the water, and that the wind mixed with the water, it knocked all that stuff off those trees. And now yesterday I was doing yard work. I did yard work because I'm like, cool. Now I don't have to worry about my mulch, putting new mulch in, and then hear all these fur strands come down. That's the beautiful thing about accountability. Now you know that wind is going to come, and now that water is going to cause the oak tree to get even more stronger. And when you go through the storm, it's causing you to be stronger if you stay. When you stay in a storm, it's going to cause you to be stronger. The reason why my marriage is the best marriages I've ever looked at. I have marriage mentors. People have been married 40 plus years. You know what strengthened them? Not the good times. The good times did not strengthen those people who tell about, how they became stronger. It was the storm. It was the adversity they went through. It was the adversity that they survived through that caused them to be strong and stable. And that's why we need accountability. Accountability makes you stay in there. It makes you stay in there. And guess what? It's your storms that you've been through that has made you so robust. It is the storms that you've been through in life that's made you the stable person that you are. Not because you ran from it. As soon as you saw a storm front coming, you ran. Or you drove to another town. No, you stayed in there. You learned how to buckle down and how to bunker down. And that storm came, and you realized that storm passed. It didn't stay, did it? Storms do not stay. Storms always pass through. So we must learn how to just bunker down, lock down, be accountable, don't run, stay there, let that storm come, and let yourself see yourself survive it and watch it go past. And then you know what usually happens after a storm? Beautiful sunshine and peace and calm. See, that's the reward. That's your reward. That is your reward for hanging in there. That's your reward for hanging in the storm. You get that sun. And I mean, even after the storm hit, the electricity went out. But I mean, the clouds dissipated, and it was a peace. It wasn't windy. And I said, wow, look at that. That storm's not going to last forever. The old mothers, I grew up in the old church when I was a little boy, and the old mother said, the storm won't last always. It won't last always. It will not last always. You know that. You're proof. You're proof of that. You are proof of that. So then I talked about how it buys trust, it builds longevity, it protects progress, and it works for the goal. That was the review from yesterday. I got kind of caught up in yesterday's lesson. So, but it's right in line with today. So we're talking about the importance and the strength and the power of accountability. the power of accountability. And so I was reading this article this morning about, successful businesses and how accountability is basically the most important thing at the top of the ladder when it comes to having a successful organization. And so it says the issue of personal accountability viewed, excuse me. How is the issue of personal accountability viewed in your organization? Seasoned workers have undoubtedly seen their share of finger pointing, dishonesty. However, personal accountability is a critical step towards improving leadership. When people are accountable for their own decisions, works, and results, their effectiveness of an organization can greatly increase. So it is accountability that is going to cause growth. It's accountability that's going to cause you to be a better leader. It's accountability that's going to cause you to be a better friend, to be a better coworker, to be a better boss, to be a better husband, be a better wife, be a better leader. Whatever you do, it is accountability that's going to give you the ability to be better, right? To be better. It says one of the greatest issues in accountability stems from the amount of control people actually possess in their work. When employees are in control of what, when, and how of a decision, their accountability is sky high. So this says when employees are in control of what, when, and how of a decision, their accountability is sky high. So accountability it actually gives you the ability to maximize your potential. It's when you're accountable that you can't hide. And when you can't hide, you maximize your effectiveness. You maximize your performance because you have to give account to whatever results or whatever performance. You got to give account to it, right? And so they talked about, so it said, on the other hand, when others are in control of how work gets done, accountability significantly decreases. Studies on control and influence in autocratic, democratic, and laissez-faire organizations show that the most effective organizations have teams where everyone feels they have influence. So accountability is a powerful move in an organization because when everybody feels like they have influence and as on the team, then it builds this spirit, it builds this culture, it builds this environment where everybody's working hard, everybody's maximizing, everybody's bringing their own strengths onto the team. They're bringing their strengths onto the team, and it causes the whole team to flourish, right? It causes the whole team to flourish. It's just like the basketball playoffs. You got Boston, who's got these superstars that went down, right? They got the superstars went down. Kyrie Irving went down. Gordon Hayward went down. But then what it did was it strengthened the culture of the team. Now people were like, hey, we all have to step in. We all have to step up. So their top stars went down, but it caused the team to get stronger. Because everybody is pulling weight. Nobody's looking for Kyrie to take over. They're saying, no, we got to do this together. And teamwork, my brother always says, teamwork makes the dream work. Teamwork makes the dream work. So when everybody's accountable, it causes greatness and everybody to start flourishing and coming out. And so it says here, absolutely, it's always about the team. When people feel like their voice is heard, their investment in their work increases far more than when they're being told what to do and how exactly to do it. And so they give 8 keys. I'm not going to go through all 8, but they talked about 8 keys, 8 things that they researched that great organizations have with leaders within leadership. And they talked about honesty and integrity. When your boss asks a company in a company meeting, how's the project coming? So saying accountability, you got to be willing to be honest and integral when someone asks a question about the results or how is this going. And then it says trust. We did some research on it. Now, I talked about trust yesterday. This really hit home. Trust. I talked about how accountability is what builds trust, right? Accountability builds trust. We did some research on a set of leaders who were not trusted and found their employees had the following issues. So the employees, based on their assessment of the leader, they didn't trust the leader. So they asked those employees what were some things that were missing. Why didn't you trust your boss? And this is what they said. I'm not confident that my efforts will be rewarded. I suspect the leader may take advantage of me. And then it says, I constantly question the leader's motives. Ooh-wee. See, remember, absolute power corrupts absolutely. And whenever a leader is not accountable to the people who are following them,